Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we shall be discussing about the tips and tricks to crack the TCS interview. So the TCS students who are given their test, I think a lot of them have gotten their emails. They've gotten their emails talking about how they've been selected for specific roles, and so many of you have shown so much excitement and you want to know a lot more details about how to crack the interview actually now. So this is why we've come up with this video on the basis of the stats, and these are the tips that will help you sure shot crack the TCS interview. So that's why keep watching the video until the end. And one thing that I would like to also mention is I have also given out the formats regardless of the interview that you're going to give. This specifically has been made for TCS, but in case if you want to give an interview for another test, say you want to crack an Accenture with interview or like Cognizant interview, this is going to be applicable for all of them because the format is going to remain the same. Only the company is going to change, right? So that's what we're going to stick to. All right. So let's get started. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So these are my tips and tricks for you to crack your TCS interview, right? So now I've come up with a format for all of them, for all of the questions. Now let's get started. Let's dive into the video now. How do you introduce yourself? Now I've taken hundreds of mock interviews and I know that there's only 0.1% of students who actually say it right. The other ones usually do make a mistake. And that's why we've come up with this. Start with your name and educational background, right? This is very important. I've also given out an example. Good morning or afternoon. My name is Bushra and I recently completed my degree from Bangalore Institute of Technology. I've done my BTech. And this is what you could talk about. BTech in electronics and instrumentation. That's what I would say. So firstly, start with your name and your educational background. This is a must. This is how you're supposed to start. Okay. Talk about your name, talk about your field, your college, and then talk about your CGPA also if you're comfortable with that. Okay. Second one, highlight your academic strengths or relevant coursework. So, for example, if you are trying to give an interview for a web developer or a software developer, try talking about the relevant stuff. For example, what becomes relevant for you then? The skills that you have become relevant, the project work that you have done, that becomes relevant, right? So that's why talk about during my time in college, I developed a strong foundation in DSA, Java, C, C++, web development, Python, etc., which sparked my interest in. You can talk about software development, full stack development, web development, backend development, anything that you're really fond of, right? So one thing that you always have to remember, one super important tip is keep your introduction relevant, right? Because if you're trying to make it irrelevant, you're trying to talk about things that will not fetch you the job, you're just wasting your time and the interviewer's time. So that's why try to keep it relevant. Try talking about your academic strengths. First, you talk about your name, then your college, then your field and your CGPA. CGPA only if you're comfortable with that. Then you talk about your skills or your projects, right? Because that becomes your relevant information. Then go ahead and mention about your internships and projects. So projects you can cover here if you want to, and certifications as well, right? Talk about the internships that you have done, if you have done any internship. If you have not done any internship, then you can just skip and you can talk about your project, your final year project, talk about the certifications that you have done. Now, I would also like to take some time out and try to clear the air about certifications. A lot of students come to me and they ask me, Madam, um, we have done certifications in these topics. So do we have to show the certificate? No, you don't have to show the certificate. You can just talk about it during your introduction and you will be good to go. Okay. And then the fourth point is talk about your soft skills and extracurriculars. So for example, say you played badminton, national level. You can talk about that because it's an achievement. Or say you have won some cup for your college or something, then you can talk about that. If you've loved hosting, if you've loved volunteering at some event, you could talk about that as well. Because all of these extracurricular activities build your personality, right? So when you talk about how you have gotten into a leadership role, or your communication has become better, or you are sportive, or you have the willpower to hit the gym every day, All of these talk a lot about your personality, because now when somebody is hiring you for the job, they're not just looking for the skill set, they're also looking at the kind of person that you are. If you will be a team player, if you will stick to what the work is given, how well you will deliver the work, all of these become very important, right? So you can talk about your soft skills. Then you can talk about your career goal and interest. If this is what career goal is, like what you want to become and all of that. So in this case, what we're trying to say is how interested you are in the role, what you want to do about this. Like, for example, here, I'm looking to begin my professional journey to a role where I can apply what I have learned and continue growing. I'm especially excited about the opportunity because I'm really interested in data engineering role because this fascinates me. You could talk about all of that. If you already know what role you're going to be selected for pre-hand, then you can talk about it. Otherwise, just talk, show your enthusiasm about joining the company, right? Sixth point is to end it with a positive note. Talk about how you're so eager to contribute to the team, how you are eager to learn and grow, and how you're thankful for the opportunity. This is what you can talk about, and you can end this. So always keep your introduction about 3 to 5 minutes long and try to make it comprehensive, and always use simple language. And if you and like when you know the format pre-hand, right, you don't have to keep thinking. This is why I've given you the format. Just know the format, stick to this format in every interview that you give, right? Because if you know the format, you don't have to take time like I am I'm really good at Java. I have CGPA of 8. You don't have to do all of that, right? So that's why there's a format. Please go through the format and stick to the format. Now, I have given a clear-cut example. For example, say there's a student called Rahul Sharma. This is how the student should introduce himself. Good morning. My name is Rahul Sharma, and I have recently completed my BTech in computer science from Bangalore University. I have always been passionate about technology during my studies. I built a strong foundation in Python, SQL, and web development. I also worked on a final year project where I created a job recommendation system using machine learning. So see, the first paragraph contains about the information, what the student's name is, which college, which field, right? This is like the basic relevant information. After that, the student is talking about the skill set, talking about the project work, right? These two become very important and very relevant also for the job role. So this is how you should introduce yourself. Next, additionally, I have completed a 2-month internship with Tech Mahindra where I contributed to automating report generation using Python and Excel. I have also taken online courses in data analysis and cloud fundamentals. This is completely optional. If you have done any internship, you can go ahead and talk about it. This is basic, right? This part is basic, and this is very important. You have to talk about this. This is optional, right? And now I'm now looking to begin my career in a company where I can keep my learning and contribute meaningfully. I'm especially interested in your organization because of its focus on innovation and mentorship. So this one is specifically about the company. So this will have like a good rapport. This will help you build a good rapport with the interviewer. So you can add this. This is optional too, but I would recommend adding this so you can start it on a good note. Thank you for the opportunity. This is what you can end it with. So now I hope everyone's clear with how to introduce yourself. This is the format. These are the pointers, these 6 pointers you have to keep in mind and stick to this. This is what I would recommend. Next, we have project, right? The second point of discussion is now going to be about the project. Your project holds a it carries a very important role, right? And I will tell you why. I had built about 3 projects during my college time, and I have gotten at least one job role. I had cracked at least one interview and I'd gotten job roles on the basis of the projects I had built, right? So that's why your project eventually decides which team you're going to work for. For example, say you have built a project on machine learning. If there's an ML team that looks forward to a hiring of a fresher, then you will be put into that ML team. If you have worked on a project that focuses on web development, then if there is a web development team, you will be put into that team. So your project is very much going to decide which team you're going to be a part of. That's why so much of importance is given to your projects. Okay. So now, project title and purpose. Talk about the project name and talk about what problem it's solving. This is very important, right? What problem is it solving? Talk about the name and talk about the problem it's solving. This is going to be your first point. Second, Talk about technologies used. What all technologies have you used? Because this is going to be one of those developer hirings, right? This is a technical role. So that's why talk about the technologies. Talk about the technologies like I used Python, HTML, MySQL, TensorFlow, whatever technologies that you have used, you can talk about that to build the project. Third is going to talk about your role. What have you done? For example, now usually what happens in a college is there are at least 4 people, right? 4 people working on one project. So when there are 4 people working on one project, the work is being split into 4 different parts because each student has to take up something, right? Say one is doing the front end, one is doing the back end, one is doing the integration, one is taking care of all the functional stuff. So whatever your role is, whatever your responsibility is, you talk about that, right? Whatever tasks you handle, for example, coding, designing, model building, whatever you have done, what is relevant to your project, you talk about that. Then you have to talk about the outcome. After doing all of this, what was the result? That is going to be your point number 4. We achieved this, and it was appreciated, presented in this college, right? You can talk about your college. So, for example, say you built a system which could predict a disease using machine learning algorithm. So we have achieved about 95% accuracy and we have tested in a couple of people. You can talk about that, okay? Finally, talk about the key learnings. For example, what all skills did you develop and what did it teach you? You can talk about all of that. Now, I have given you an example so you have a better understanding of that. As a part of my final year project, I worked on a project titled Smart Waste Segregation System using image classification. This is the name of the project. Completed over 3 months with a team of four people worked in the team, right? The objective was to build AI-powered system that could automatically classify waste into biodegradable and non-biodegradable categories using image recognition. An idea inspired by the growing need of smart city solutions. So here, what are we doing? We're talking about the name of the project, right? Then we are talking about the time, then the team, then what problem it is solving, right? This is going to be your basic, right? Now, this we are talking about tools and technologies. Tools and tech. We use Python, TensorFlow, and OpenCV to train convolutional neural network on a custom data set of waste images. My responsibility was to collect and pre-process the data, build the image classification model, and evaluate its performance. You're talking about your role here. We trained the data model using 3,000 labeled images and achieved around 89% accuracy. Now you're talking about facts and figures. All of these make your project sound more authentic. So that's why it's important to give out all of those information, right? One major challenge was class imbalance and poor lighting and images, which we handled through data augmentation. Before the interviewer even asks, you're talking about the challenges faced, right? This is a very, very good example, I would say, because it's covering everything. Challenges faced and solution to them. Okay, we're talking about that, right? Final output was a prototype. This is what the final achievement was. Prototype that could be embedded in smart bins or mobile apps for better waste management. This project taught me practical machine learning implementation, teamwork, problem solving under constraints, right? This is what you could achieve. This is your achievement. I believe it's a great example of my ability to combine technical knowledge with societal impact. You're trying to conclude about your project. So this is also a wonderful line. So this is, I think, is a brilliant example. Go through this and please stick to this. So now, third pointer is now because we are specifically targeting TCS, right? This is why we've made it for TCS. Now that so many of you have gotten your offer letters, like the emails about being selected for specific roles, please know that half the job is done. Only half of it has remained. And I know that all of you have full potential to do this. Please go through the complete video. These tips and tricks are definitely going to help you crack it. Okay. So why do you want to join TCS? Any company, right? First, research about the company. This is going to be a very crucial step. For example, TCS, it is one of those top IT company services, right? Service companies globally. It has values because it's a Tata company, integrity, learning, and innovation. It has great culture, inclusive and growth oriented culture. Initiatives. There are so many initiatives like TCS Ion, digital learning platforms. It has a global presence. All of these are the characteristics of the company. So know all of this now because you have to crack a TCS interview. Please know that TCS actually does really well in all of these categories. Next point is to connect your goals to TCS, right? Show how TCS aligns with your career ambitions, skills, and learning goals. Okay. Mention if you're interested in global exposure, large scale projects, and digital transformation. For example, if we were to cover the second point, I would say that I really want to contribute to a team and get better at my technical skills. And TCS is going to provide me that platform because TCS uses a lot of modern technologies. You could talk about that, right? Because you have to connect your goals to TCS. Third point, mention learning opportunities. Think about how much you will get to learn and grow, right? TCS is known for excellent training programs, its learning ecosystem, and how it has great opportunities to switch between technologies and domains. For example, a lot of these companies, right, the service or the product based companies which have global presence, they give you opportunity to work in different teams, different technologies, so you can learn and grow, right? You can talk about that. Fourth, talk about the stability and growth because TCS is a very financially stable company and it also offers long term growth, global mobility, and internal job rotations. This is why you're very interested in TCS, and this will also give you an opportunity to be to like be able to get the stability and the growth that you're looking for. Okay, so this is what you can talk about. Now, I have given an example for this also. I want to join TCS because it's one of the most respected and globally recognized IT companies. It provides a strong foundation for freshers through the structured training programs and a wide range of global opportunities. I'm particularly drawn to TCS' emphasis on digital innovation, employee growth, and its presence in over 46 countries. The chance to work on large scale, real world projects across industries is something I truly look forward to. As someone who's eager to learn and contribute meaningfully, I believe TCS offers the perfect platform to grow as a well rounded IT professional while working in a collaborative and inclusive environment. In this example, I've covered all the pointers I was talking about, and this shows how I'm truly interested in my growth, in company's growth, and how this company gives me a platform to learn, to grow, and to achieve everything I want to, while also contributing to the company's growth. Right? So you're talking about a win-win situation here. Now, information about TCS, because a lot of interviewers are going to ask you, what do you know about TCS? Why do you want to join TCS? So this is the information, all the information that you have to know about TCS, I'm going to give you, right? TCS stands for Tata Consultancy Services. Which year was it founded in? 1968. Who's the founder? It's Fakir Chand Kohli, FC Kohli, who is the founder, right? He's also referred as father of Indian IT industry. Now, where's the headquarters located? It's in Mumbai, Maharashtra. So, a registered office is at Bombay House, which is the headquarters of the Tata Group. Who's the CEO? And let's talk about the leadership. Who's the CEO and MD? It is Kritivasan, right? He took over in 2023 June after Rajesh Gopinathan resigned. How many employees work in TCS? Over 600,000. This is about 6 lakh plus employees as of 2025. This is one of the largest private sector employee company in India. This has very high diverse workforce. This has about 150 nationalities in 50 countries. So this is why we're talking about this as a globally recognized company, right? Who's the parent group? Tata Group, one of the India's oldest and most respectable conglomerates. So now revenue, what is revenue? All this is extra information that I'm just trying to give out so you have a better understanding, you know about it, even if somebody asks you, which they mostly won't because this is too much of detail, right? But I've still given it out anyway so you have a better understanding. So TCS is one of the India's largest IT services company by revenue, and it has about 29 million US dollars. This is the revenue for the last year. Now, services offered, it is into IT consulting, app development and maintenance, cloud computing, AI/ML, data analytics, cybersecurity, enterprise solutions, digital transformation, engineering and industrial services, business processes, services. All of these is what TCS covers. It has global presence because it operates in 46 plus countries. It has 285 plus offices and 147 plus delivery centers worldwide. So this is why it's a globally recognized company, right? Let's talk about training and development. It is very renowned for its initial learning program, which is called ILP for freshers. Then it has a digital learning hub, TCS Elevate, where you can upskill, right? And it also emphasizes very strongly on continuous learning and certifications. You constantly have to train and develop yourself when you are in TCS. So let's talk about awards and recognition. It has gotten Top Employer Global certification. It got Forbes Global 2000. It also got Brand Finance's Most Valuable IT Service Brand. So all of these is like extremely in-depth knowledge about TCS, but just go through the video once, just remember all of that. In case they ask, they will only ask you about the basic stuff, but just know everything. So even if they ask you, you would be able to clear, right? Now, some tips to tackle technical, managerial, and HR round. So remember one thing, guys. So I take a lot of mock interviews. I think I've taken about 200 plus mock interviews in like last 3 years. So whenever you ask about the technical, first let's cover technical, right? So technical, say they're asking theoretical questions, then what you can do is give them 2 sentence or 3 sentence answer. Okay. If you have an example you can relate with, like a real world example or another example, then go ahead and give that also. This is going to be my first tip. Don't try to keep talking about it very vaguely. If you do not know about it, don't just try to waste your time and interviewer's time. If you don't know, in that case, just politely say, I don't know, but I will look into it. But I will learn more about it. I will look into it, but I will learn about it. Right? Just politely say. Or if you're not able to recall, tell that you're not able to recall. Not able to recall at the moment, right? You can talk about that. Not able to recall at the moment. Just talk about that. These are my tips for technical questions. Managerial questions and HR questions. Managerial plus HR questions, right? So what you have to do here is whenever you are being asked manager or HR questions, one thing that you have to see, manager round, this will have two parts, right? They want to know you, then they want to know your skills, right? If they want to know about your skills, use this approach. Talk about 2 sentences, talk politely, say no if you don't know. But if you're trying to know about you and if it's the HR question, then what you have to do is always answer in company's favor. Make sure that you're catering to company's contribution. For example, if they ask you what your strengths and weaknesses are, your strengths, talk about your strengths, right? Just for example, I am a very keen learner. I observe things a lot, and I'm somebody who grasps things very quickly. You can talk about your strengths. When you talk about your weakness, try to counter your weakness with your strength. For example, I observe things way too much, and I think that's my weakness. But it also helps me to never miss a detail, especially when it comes to my work. So what you're trying to do here is you're talking about your weakness, but you're also trying to convert that into your stress by showing the interviewer how you're constantly getting better, right? So this is a very important, a crucial thing to remember for all of you, right? And see, the interviewer asks, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Don't tell the interviewer that you want to get married or you want to do your MBA or you want to do your MTech or anything like this, because this will not help the company in any way. This is your personal stuff, right? This is your personal growth alone. Always try to answer in company's favor. Try to tell them that I want to lead a team, or try to tell that I want to work on more than 5 technologies at least. I want to keep updating myself. Talk about this and talk about contributing to company's welfare. That's what I would recommend. Okay. So the sixth pointer is, do you have any questions for me? So whenever the interviewer asks you if you have any questions for the interviewer, always remember that it is very, very important for you to ask questions, right? So ask, because this is going to show the interviewer that you're truly interested in the role, right? So ask about technologies that the team is working on, technologies. Ask about the work culture. Ask about the team size. Ask about what all you get to contribute to, right? Your contribution. So when you ask all these relevant and important questions, the interviewer will then know. Also, feel free to ask your feedback. If they give you the feedback, take it. If they don't give you the feedback, just politely say thank you and just and just put an end to that. Okay, so all these things that I'm talking about, right, these are relevant, these are important, and these also show how interested you are in the job role, and this is why you're asking, right? So always please keep these things in mind and answer the question. So this is all that I have for today's video, guys. I think I have in depth explained all the things, the formats and everything that you have to cover, and I'm hoping that all of you would be able to crack your TCS interviews, and this video is really going to help people who want to give interviews, because we have covered everything A to Z. So thank you so much